Let's make some breakfast. Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table. Sydney here, and we are going to be gearing up for the holiday season today. So I have a couple recipes for you. These would be really great if you are trying to do like a plan ahead Christmas morning breakfast. So if you're really struggling to maybe make some breakfast on Christmas morning, you know, there's so many fun things going on that we don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. We want to be spending time with our family. So these recipes, they actually can be made ahead, or they're pretty quick to whip up. The first one we are going to do actually does need to be made ahead, but the other one would be a quick one that you could whip up the night before as well. So we're going to be doing that. We're also going to talk a little bit about maintaining your happiness during the holidays. A lot of times we say, oh, Christmas, you know, it's the happiest time of the year, the most jolly time of year. But really, a lot of people tend to feel stress, right? So we're trying to plan all of these events. We're trying to make it to every event. We're trying to make food for these events that we're attending. And we're also just trying to coordinate, maybe if you've got different holiday gatherings that you go to all in the same day, that can be stressful. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to maintain some of that holiday peace. That's really what we want to achieve, right? So we'll talk about that today as well. What we're making first, this is a berry French toast casserole. And it does require a little bit of soaking where the bread actually soaks in the casserole dish. You pretty much make everything ahead of time and you can stick it in the fridge. So ideally this would be made and then sit for a couple hours before you actually bake it. So what we're doing, this is supposed to be in a 9x13. I have divvied it up to be in two different smaller casserole dishes. So I made one ahead of time yesterday, and then we're going to make one today so I can show you everything. So we'll go ahead and get started. I have already pre-cut our bread. So you are just going to take a loaf of French bread. Stale bread is great. If you can get stale, that would be ideal. You could also do really any bread that you have laying around. Old hamburger buns, hot dog buns, really anything that you have that is going to be kind of that older bread. This is a whole loaf of French bread, and I just cut it in half, and it equals out the amount of cups that we need. So you want to cut those into those big chunks, those cube chunks. And I had just really stuffed it down in there. We also have our oven on 350. So I've got that going. And actually, we're going to need to grease our pan and put that bread right in this pan. So I'll go ahead and do that just with a little bit of cooking spray. So we're going to throw that on the bottom, and then we're going to add our mixture over our bread. That way I can use that for pouring later. And ideally, our bread is going to soak up all of that yummy mixture that we have that we're making now. So next up, we're going to do our eggs. So we typically need 8. Like I said, I'm cutting this whole recipe in half. So this is going to be 4 eggs. And you can really do, I did strawberries and blackberries to go on top of this. You can choose any berries that you like. You could do a different fruit if you don't want strawberries or blackberries. The blackberries were actually on sale this week, so that is why I picked those. Just strawberries would be delicious, blueberries, even frozen fruit if you want to do frozen instead. All right, so I'm gonna whip up our eggs. And then we are going to add a cup of milk. Any milk that you choose. I did some canned milk because that's what we had here at our office. And then we're doing a little bit of vanilla extract and cinnamon and brown sugar. So just 1 teaspoon of that vanilla extract. And then we need half a teaspoon of cinnamon, which I'm just gonna eyeball. I'll look for it to have that pretty color because I don't feel like measuring half a teaspoon. That looks pretty good to me. And then our last thing is going to be our brown sugar. And that's 1/3 cup. But remember, typically you'd be doing 2/3 because you're making the large batch. And that's it. Very simple, very easy. You just throw everything together and it's ready to go. So I'm gonna throw it over our bread here and it's gonna soak for a little bit and I'm gonna stick it in the fridge while it soaks. You just wanna cover it evenly and then also just throw some saran wrap on top for it to sit in your refrigerator. Still got some sugar chunks down here. And that's it. So we are, I'm gonna get this covered, throw it into our fridge, and we'll see you guys back in just a second to get the other one in the oven.
Eastern North Carolina is a beautiful place where we gladly choose to call home. And we strive to provide the best communications services. STAR is committed to improving communications to all our service areas because we want to improve the communities where we not only work, but also live. STAR Communications. We are neighbors serving neighbors.
If you run a business, you need sales. To get sales, you need customers. To get customers, you need exposure. Let our team of experts craft and produce the perfect video ad to reach your intended audience while making the most of your advertising dollars. Call 1-800-706-6538 or visit starcom.net to contact our STAR Communications production team and get your business moving to the next level.
All right, welcome back, guys. So you can see our beautiful French toast bake is ready. So this is the one I made yesterday and it's kind of been soaking overnight. So the bread has started to soak up that egg mixture that we just poured in and it'll cook nicely and fluff up while it's in the oven. So this is gonna take about 35 minutes in the oven. I've got my handy dandy assistant off camera over here. So I'm gonna pass that to him and he's gonna toss it in the oven for us so we can get started on our next recipe. So 35 minutes, we'll check on that. Of course, you might have to adjust that more or less depending on your oven and how it functions typically. So what we're making next is, this is breakfast enchiladas. So this would be another one. You could go ahead and make this the night before and throw it in the oven, or sorry, throw it in the refrigerator and then cook it. Your other option would be, you could even just make this into a big burrito and cook it and freeze it and then heat it up when you're ready to eat it. So that's something else, even not just around the holidays or on Christmas morning. You could make that just for plan ahead breakfast that you could have for the week. This also makes several enchiladas. So this could be something that you make at the beginning of the week and eat on for the remainder of the week. So even if you didn't want to do this specifically for Christmas morning, you could still make this ahead of time and have it for your breakfast for whenever you have those holiday gatherings coming up. So first things first is to cook up our eggs. So I've got our pan on low and I've put a little bit of olive oil in our pan. That's just always what I do whenever I cook up eggs. I just use olive oil. You could also, of course, use butter or something like that if you prefer that. So we have 6 eggs for this one. And whenever we are breaking our eggs, the best thing we want to do is to use a flat surface to crack those. And if you get any shell in, I always say to use the shell to scoop it out. It makes it much more easy to scoop it. Let's try not to hit it too hard so I don't make a mess, but then I'm not breaking it well enough. All right, so we have our eggs. We're just going to use a fork to break those up, and we're just doing scrambled eggs here. So keeping it real simple. Now, when we are thinking about kind of reducing that stress during the holidays, a good tip for you is to plan out your week. So I just mentioned that this is a great recipe that you can plan ahead of time. So you can go ahead and have your breakfast ready. That way you're not scrambling to make your breakfast in the morning and to run out the door or anything like that. So that is one tip for you. It can be in terms of your meals. It can be in terms of just planning in general of the events you have going on. So a lot of times we have holiday plays, we have different gatherings. Maybe you have a work party. Maybe you're getting together with one of your family members. Maybe you separate out your family gatherings. For instance, I have my parents and then I have my husband's family. So trying to work in when we're going to be meeting with them, getting together with each of them. So whatever that might look like, go ahead and plan that ahead of time. So look at your week, look at what you've got going on for your week, and kind of make note of, this is what we're doing Tuesday, this is what we're doing Wednesday. Maybe on Tuesday we will plan to go out to eat or to just have a quick pizza. It's okay to, of course, not have a perfect meals during the holidays. People are so busy, and you don't need that to be one more thing that you stress out about. So give yourself some grace, and it will be perfectly okay if you do have a little bit more, I guess, of those non-home cooked meals during the holidays, because you're going to be getting together with family, and this is just a special time. So keep those things in mind. Whenever we plan, it does help us to not stress as much. I find that when I don't have a planned out meal, and I'm kind of thinking, what am I going to cook for dinner? Zero ideas, not sure what's in my fridge or my pantry. That's when we tend to begin to stress a little bit more, and it's just one more thing on our to-do list. So tip for you there, regardless of what it looks like, plan. Now you see I'm kind of scrambling these up really slow. I find that the best eggs are cooked nice. Best scrambled eggs are cooked nice and slow. I haven't seasoned them yet. I'll just season them after because I actually didn't bring out my salt and pepper over here, so I'll grab it when we go on a break. But whenever you watch these professional chefs, which I am not, but if you watch them like Gordon Ramsay, he always recommends a nice slow heat to make the perfect scrambled eggs. So we're gonna finish these up and we're gonna take a quick break, and I'll see you back in just 1 second.
Honey, do we pay our bill?
What bill?
The Star Communications bill.
No worries, honey. With Star's paperless billing and automatic draft system, I get a notification sent right to my phone. There's no need to be bothered with those paper statements, and our bill is paid on time every month.
Well, that's easy and convenient.
It sure is, honey.
Honey,
Yes, dear.
the bake.
Oh, right.
You're out for an evening on the town. Finally a chance to relax and forget that you left your front door completely unlocked. Fortunately, you just installed a security system from Star Communications. With just your cell phone, you can check on your house, lock it down, light it up, and get back to relaxing.
You forgot to put Buster in his crate.
Unfortunately, we can't help with that. security and automation from Star Communications. Call today to find out more.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we have our eggs all cooked up nicely. What we're gonna do next, we're just gonna add a little bit of bell pepper to that. And this is one whole bell pepper. I went ahead and cut that one ahead of time, but I've got one more here that I can show you. So remember, anytime we're doing bell peppers, I always say to top it and tail it. And then we work around the little segments inside of your bell pepper. This way we get as much of our bell pepper as possible. You can discard that and the seeds. And we're just gonna chop this up really nice and fine. So I like to chop it into small little pieces and then flip it and turn it the other way. And that actually gives you a finely chopped bell pepper. Just what we are looking for. Now, some other tips for you that I wanted to kind of talk about as we think about reducing that stress during the holidays, keeping our nice Zen calmness that we want to achieve. And one of those is being able to say no. Now, I absolutely struggle with this probably more than most people because I'm definitely one of those people pleaser personalities. So I'm learning to be better, especially now that I have a little one, because of course, anybody who is maybe a parent out there, you know your priorities absolutely shift the moment that you have a little person in your life. So definitely being able to say no if you feel like it is causing you stress to try to fit that into your day, your life, your week, whatever it might be, then maybe that's a sign that it's just something that you should not participate in. I'll give you an example. About a week ago, I was struggling with laryngitis and I could not speak at all, could not, you couldn't hear a thing I said. I was whispering. You might still hear it a little bit in my voice of that kind of raspiness. So I felt great, but my voice was not where it needed to be. And as much as I really wanted to do some stuff with my family, they had Christmas in the City going on. We also had, I think there was an event at Union Elementary or Union High School where they were doing a Christmas event. And I really wanted to go and attend those things, but I had to sit back and tell myself, this is just not, I'm not going to have a good time because I'm not, nobody can hear me. It's just, I shouldn't be out in the cold anyways. And you just have to realize, is this best for me? Is this best for my family? And if it's not, if it's just not in your best interest, then you have to say no. I know sometimes we want to go to all the things and participate in everything, but you can still participate in other things. There's plenty of things going around in terms of those Christmas events around the county, but also even family events. Maybe there's another time that you can get with your family. Maybe it doesn't have to be at Christmas. It can be later in the new year when you still have a little bit of time off school or work that you can fit that in. So don't try to say yes to everything. If you are a parent and you've got several Christmas events, you know, I know that you want to attend everything for your child, but maybe split that up between parents to attend those things. So I'm going to add the rest of this bell pepper in here. And I've just got my pan on low. We're just keeping it warm. So we just want to kind of steam these peppers a little bit. Remember, this is going in the oven, so they're going to cook a little bit further once they go in the oven. So we've got 2 bell peppers, and of course, this is a great way to add in a little bit of vegetables, especially when we're thinking about the holidays. The next thing I have is a little bit of chopped turkey. So this is this turkey sausage. You can, of course, use any sausage you prefer. I was just trying to keep it a little bit leaner, of course, so that I can enjoy some other yummy holiday goodies on Christmas Day. We tend to have a lot more sweets around Christmas, so my goal is to get a nice, good protein meal for breakfast, which this absolutely has, and also try to get some of those vegetables in. So if you're trying to set goals for yourself in terms of your meals around the holidays, that's a good one, is to fit in those fruits and vegetables, and then also try to find ways that you can fit in some protein, because during the holidays we tend to have lots more breads and cakes and cookies and just more carb-focused meals. And then also in terms of leanness, the turkey is going to be leaner in terms of your fat, and we tend to have a little bit more of that with all the butter and shortening and things that are in some of our recipes. So we're just going to let that steam for a few minutes, and then what we're going to do next is start to build our enchiladas and get those in the pan. So we'll see you back in just a sec.
Let's get out of here.
Protect what matters most in your life with security from Star Communications.
Just because something may work doesn't mean it's right for your business. Let Star Communications' knowledgeable consultants help you customize a hosted voice system that's right for you. Our dedicated experts work with you to understand your business needs and guide you at every step, from choosing and installing services to ongoing maintenance and support. Contact Star today.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we have our peppers, sausage, and eggs all done. As far as our tortillas, we have 6 tortillas. I went ahead and put a little bit of, this is the Laughing Cow cheese wedge. It is the light one, so it's gonna be a little bit lower in fat, but it does have a good amount of protein as well. You could just do regular cream cheese here, use any of the other Laughing Cow cheeses. They do have like a garlic and herb if you wanna give it a different flavor. So we've got those all done. We just spread a little bit of that. Next up, we're gonna add our mixture. So we're just doing 1/3 cup of our mix. So I'm just gonna scoop that up and kind of lay it as best I can. And we might go back and add a little bit more if we need it, because we wanna use up all this nice yummy mixture here. So another thing that I wanted to touch on in terms of the holidays is when you are attending an event, a good tip for you if you're struggling with the balance of what you're eating over the holidays and just feeling good, because a lot of times when we tend to eat a little bit differently over the holidays, and then we just feel really tired, really sluggish. We just don't tend to feel our best. So a tip for you there is to bring a healthy dish with you to a holiday gathering. So this could be really anything that you want to bring. Fruit, a bowl of fruit. I've heard some people say, we don't want your bowl of fruit, don't bring that healthy stuff. We want the real thing, right? But what we find is actually a lot of people just crave something fresh tasting and light, because there's going to be so many heavy things at your said event. So your either family gathering or whatever it might be. So, absolutely you can bring something that is light, and I promise it will get eaten, because people do tend to crave something to kind of cleanse that palate and kind of reset things. So I actually have a little bit left. We could probably do closer to 7 or 8 tortillas, but I'm gonna go ahead and roll these up just so you guys can see. And I've got my pan all sprayed here. Oh, y'all, we just forgot the most important part, the cheese. a little bit of cheese in each of these. So I'm gonna do about 1/4 cup of cheese, not a ton. This is just your mozzarella cheese. We're using about 1 cup total here. So I'm just gonna do enough to kind of sprinkle. And I did buy the reduced fat version as well in terms of our mozzarella. Looks good. And you can, of course, do a little more, a little less, depending on what your family enjoys. But you do, of course, want to be mindful of not overloading the cheese there to where it's just spilling out. So as we lay these, I'm just gonna lay them with that seam side down. So I'll usually take it and scoop and then roll. And you're gonna have a little bit of fallout just because of the shape, but that's okay. The last thing that I wanna touch on in terms of reducing that stress during the holidays is doing things that do help, that are stress relievers. So this could be going for a walk, reading a book, listening to music, anything that you have that really helps you to calm down and just kind of relax. Even just watching TV. So finding a good show, a good Christmas movie, whatever that may be, and just kind of relaxing. So we do need to try to find time for that as well, because if we are continuing to just be stressed and overwhelmed during, the entire month of December, really end of November to month of December, you're not going to feel very good, and the less stress we have, the better we feel. So that needs to be our goal. All right, we have our tortillas all done, so you can see those. Next up, we are going to add our enchilada sauce. We have 2 cups here. I don't know if I'm going to use quite the whole 2 cups. If you are making this ahead of time, I would recommend going ahead and doing your tortillas and just laying them in your pan, and then save your enchilada sauce and your salsa verde for the next day, whenever you're gonna cook it. So right before you're gonna cook it and throw it in, then add that stuff. So that way your mixture your tortilla won't get really soggy. All right, we're using about 1 cup of this, so I'm just going to I probably should have did this with a spoon, but that's okay. That might not be quite 1 cup, that's okay. And our last thing is just to add a little bit of cheese. So we're doing about 1/2 cup of cheese here on top, which will be nice and melty and also yummy. And that is it. So we're gonna pop this into the oven. We'll show you guys in our little finished shot of what it looks like, but it already looks so pretty. It's got the green and the red for Christmas too, if you want to make this for Christmas. But I hope this was helpful to you, especially as you're thinking about how to kind of relax a little bit this Christmas. These can be really great recipes to help you plan ahead and just kind of reduce some of that stress. So thanks again for joining us for At the Table, and we will see you guys back next time.